Madam Mayor, would you like me to read the call of the meeting?
Okay, see, we're live because it's not yet. Okay. Are we?
Yes.
Okay. All righty. Yes, please do the call of the meeting.
Yes, ma'am. Welcome to the Board of Estimate and Contract meeting for the City of Mount Vernon, New York. It is today, Tuesday, October 19th. The posted time is 9:30 a.m. And the location is a hybrid location, both at City Hall and the Mayor's Conference Room, as well as online. And those members of the public who'd like to view only can also view via the cmvny.com. That's the city's new revised website, or at facebook.com/MOUNTVERNONNY. And your notice and public open meeting requirements have been satisfied for this meeting, ma'am. And if you'd like, I can start with your roll call.
Yes, roll call, please.
Thank you, ma'am. Comptroller Reynolds. Comptroller Reynolds. Council President Griffith.
Here.
Mayor Patterson Howard.
Here.
You have a quorum in the council, in the mayor's conference room. Thank you.
Okay, you can proceed with the agenda.
Thank you. Item number 1 under resolutions approving ordinances is granting permission to the Commissioner of Public Works to attend the Public Works Summit, and that is November 8th through November 10th, 2021.
So moved.
Seconded. On the question?
On the question, Madam Mayor, if it pleases the board, we can read all of the resolutions approving ordinances unless there is any issues with any of them. The council has approved all of these, and it seems that there's no controller here. I have no reservation with us reading this first batch of resolutions approving ordinances, and we vote on them in unison.
Absolutely, and since the administration has submitted all of these to be passed by the council and the Board of Estimate, we have no issue or concern. So if we could take
Point of information to items 1 through 12.
1 through 12.
I just have a question. Have we established on the record that the comptroller was aware? I mean, I know this is a regular Board of Estimate
The
meeting,
controller?
but I'd just like the clerk to memorialize the efforts to inform the comptroller about this regularly scheduled Board of Estimate meeting today.
Yes, sir. If I may, through the chair, the clerk's office both notices each individual member of this body, as well, both electronically as well as hard copy. In the case of the controller's office has rejected both the notice as well as the hard copy of the agenda as late as this morning.
The office was closed on Friday. You tried to serve on Friday?
That is correct. Serve on Friday, initially on Friday, as well as yesterday and this morning. The controller has also, I do not believe, accepted the Zoom link, and she was sent that electronically both from this office, and it was confirmed by the office of the city clerk.
I mean, you know, I know you want to put it on the record, but for us to continually go above and beyond to ask people to do the job that they were elected to do for the people and make special provisions for someone who has missed almost 50% of the meetings, you know, it's a waste of our time and the taxpayers' money. So we're going to proceed and do the business of the city. All right. So with that being said, thank you, because it is now so noted on the record. And we'll move forward.
And we just have one correspondence received from the controller.
And I'll read that into the record later on as part of new business.
Great, thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay, now, right now, this is part of the point of information. I do have Council President Griffiths revising his motion, intent to revise the motion to combine items 1 through 12 as one.
Seconded.
Thank you. Okay. Council President Griffith, how say you on the combined?
Aye.
And Mayor Patterson Howard?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay. So I will read in items 1 through 12. Item number 1 is granting permission to the Commissioner of Public Works to attend the Public Works Summit. That again is November 8th through the 10th, 2021. Item number 2 is authorizing the creation of a budget line entitled Temporary Help and Transfer of Funds within the Law Department for the sum of $15,000. Item number 3 is authorizing the emergency EPA compliance to Alcides.
Cadis.
I'm sorry, thank you, Alcides of New York Incorporated, proposal for development of illicit discharge action plan, or IDAP, for the Stormwater Pollution Prevention Program Plan, or the SWMP, Sewer System Evaluation Survey Work Plan, or the SSES, and the Outflow Reconnaissance Inventory Sampling and Analysis for the sum of $138,500. Item number 4 is authorizing a transfer from the Department of Recreation to the Law Department for the sum of $45,000. Item number 5 is authorizing the Department of Recreation to use one lot for a 2-day household recycling event in collaboration with the Department of Public Works, Parking Bureau, and the county. That is October 31st for the sum of $1,500. Item number 6 is authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with Giovanni Chef d'Amour Green of Break Bread Not Hearts for the sum of $20,500. Item number 7 is authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with the Westchester Putnam Workforce Development Board to have Mount Vernon Youth Bureau provide WIOA/WDAY youth employment services for the sum of $92,670. Item number 8, authorizing the mayor to enter into an intermunicipal agreement with the Westchester County Youth Bureau to support the Sexual Risk Avoidance Education Program, or the SRAEP, for the sum of $30,334. Item number 9 is authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with the Division of Criminal Justice Services to participate in the New York State Department of Criminal Justice Services Gun-Involved Violence Elimination for 2021 and 2022 grant for the sum of $192,260. Item number 10 is authorizing the creation of a temporary helpline within the Department of Buildings budget code for the sum of $23,586.34. Item number 11 is authorizing the amending of Charter 256 of the Code of the City of Mount Vernon entitled Vehicles and Traffic. Item number 11 is authorizing the defunding of secretary to all land use boards positions and funding the position of Zoning Board of Appeals, Planning Board, and Architectural Review Board within the Department of Planning and Community Development. And so reads items number 1 through 12 on the combined motion.
So moved.
Seconded. On the question, just really quickly, glad that our Commissioner Bush will be attending a National Public Works Summit at no cost to the city. As we said, we were going to reach out locally and nationally to make sure that we're bringing the best resources back, and he received a full grant, including hotel and travel. Working to transfer money within the law department to, just take care of some of the business. The EPA compliance, we've been working with Westchester County. Cadis is also one of their contractors, so we've been able to leverage that relationship with the county and get the expertise in partnership with the county and with funding from New York State Division of Environmental Conservation, so that we could really move forward with our stormwater management plan and address our sewers. Really, the other thing that we're talking about is the work that we're doing through our youth bureau for our young people in employment training and life skills, working with the State Division of Criminal Justice to address gun violence here in Mount Vernon, and ensuring that we are expanding the capacity of our staff in the buildings department so that we can be more responsive and timely with permits and reviews of plans. And so while we're dealing with a very challenging environment, we are still working. We're still working, and we're getting it done, and we're excited about that. So that's it. Roll call?
Yes, ma'am. Council President Griffin.
Aye.
Mayor Patterson House.
Aye.
And we have the next section is tax revenue settlements. I'll listen for a combined motion, or if not, I will read all the individuals.
Combined, I propose a combined motion, combining items 13 through 24 under tax review settlement. Make a motion to combine items 13 through 24.
Seconded.
On the question? I guess you'll read them.
Yes, ma'am, I will. All right. Those in favor of, and Council President, how say you on the second of the motion, or vote on the motion to combine 13 through 24?
Aye.
Thank you, sir.
And if your voice is harsh, I wouldn't mind reading them if you like.
Thank you. Yeah, that's number 12 was starting to break up a little bit, but I think I recovered a little. I think I can. It's just, okay. Thank you, sir. All right. And Mayor Patterson Howard, how say you?
Aye.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, so here we go. I'll give it my best shot. Tax review settlements combined, items number 13 through 24. Item number 13 is settling tax review proceedings for 153 West 2nd Street, Markland 153 LLC for the sum of $18,000 86 cents. Item 14 is settling tax review proceedings for 14 East 1st Street, Markland 14 LLC, for the sum of $19,070.77. Item number 15 is settling tax review proceedings for 122 South 4th Avenue, Markland 122, for the sum of $33,700.56. Item number 16 is settling tax review proceedings for 133 South 4th Avenue, Markland 133, for the sum of $19,210.13. Item number 17 is settling tax review proceedings for 50 Bond Street, the Chocolate Factory LLC, for the sum of $52,643.37. Item number 18 is settling tax review proceedings for 311 Kimball Place, or Kimball Place Realty LLC, for the sum of $26,703.26. Item number 19 is settling tax review proceedings for 590 South Fulton Avenue, or GCMRS Properties, for the sum of $2,133.35. Item 20 is settling tax review proceedings for 210 11th Avenue, or FAAD Realty Corp., for the sum of $6,915.40. Item number 21 is settling tax review proceedings for 39 Mount Vernon Avenue for Tory Holding Corp., for the sum of $18,527.50. Item number 22 is settling tax review proceedings for 401 South McClellan Parkway at A&P Coat and Apron Company, for the sum of $5,235.76. Number 23 is settling tax review proceedings for 35 Colonial Place, for Colonial Place Realty Corp., for the sum of $2,925.72. And number 24 is settling tax review proceedings for 52 Gramerton Avenue, for 525 Gramerton Realty LLC, for the sum of $10,179.62. Thus combines items number 13 through 24.
So moved.
Seconded. On the question, look, what we know we have to do, we know our properties are more valuable in Mount Vernon than they've ever been. But unfortunately, since we haven't had a reevaluation assessment, we keep getting hit with these adjustments. And so, in the next year or so, we are desperately going to work to find money or grant something so that we could work on this process. This process is going to take a year or two to go and assess every property throughout the city of Mount Vernon, but we have to do it. If we don't do it, we continue to lose assessed value while everyone buys and sells at market rate and saves on their taxes. And so, it's critical that we get this done, because a lot of what we're dealing with right now are people going back all the way to 2015 to get, refunds. And so it hits us in the present. And that's it.
And a revow is gonna cost us north of $1 million.
North of $1 million, but each year it's costing us north of $2 million in refunds. So we have to find the $1 million so that we can do this, so that we don't lose $2 million annually. $1 million one year will save us $10 million over the next 5.
Without a doubt.
And it's been, I believe, over 40 years.
It's been a very long time, and other communities have done it. At the end of the day, it's worked out for the community. Some people pay more in taxes, some pay less. It's just righting the ship, and it really needs to be done. It's the right thing for all of the taxpayers. It'll equalize things, at least for our city. And then the next big step is to equalize things around Westchester County. So this, people's biggest asset and the city's biggest asset are our property. And we have to value them correctly, or else everything's out of balance. So it's unfortunate that we can't do a capital plan to be able to borrow that money to get it done. It would be good money spent. Absent of that, yes, a grant would be helpful in order to get that done. I wish there was some other way we can do a loan even, because in this respect, it'll be a future cost savings.
Absolutely. And we might be able to apply for a van once we're able to get down and to the comptroller's office and see our condition. At least we will have information to apply for something, even if it's a little higher than we would traditionally pay. But like I said, this is costing us $2 million a year. So finding $1 million to do it is saving us, 2% on our taxes is better than 4% on our taxes every year, because that's what it comes out to. Every year. It's the gift that keeps giving. Okay, roll call.
I could go on, but yes. I was gonna say, even the legal fees associated with defending
Absolutely.
the tertiaries that we have will then go away because it's right.
It just makes sense.
It just makes total sense.
Just makes sense.
And if I may, for that record, the motion came from, for the combined motion was you, Madam Mayor, or?
I think I've moved it, the mayor seconded, as is tradition.
Thank you. Thank you. And I am ready for that roll call, if you like.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. And Council President Griffith?
Aye.
And Mayor Patterson Howard?
Aye.
Thank you. Moving on to item number 25 is settling the rates. Item number 25 is settling the rates for a law firm of U. Nkechi, and I'm
Wachuku.
not Wachuku.
No, Wachuku.
Wachuku.
The N is silent.
Thank you. To U.
Like my
Nkechi Wachuku to serve as the city land use attorney for the City of Mount Vernon Architectural Review Board, Zoning Board of Appeal, and Planning Board meetings.
So moved.
Seconded. On the question? Hearing none, roll call.
Council President Griffin?
Aye.
Mayor Patterson Howard?
Aye.
Thank you. Item number 26 is setting the rate for Ms. Brenda Gears in matters of the law department.
So moved.
Seconded. On the question? Hearing none, roll call.
Council President Griffin?
Aye.
Mayor Patterson Howard?
Aye.
Thank you. And thank you, Council. Thank you, Corporation Council.
Thank you.
Amendment number, under items of amendment, number 27, amendment to Board of Estimate and Contract Resolution approving of ordinance from August 17, 2021, authorizing the transfer of funds within the city clerk's office and reconcile the city clerk's office secretary 2021 salary effective August 16, 2021.
So moved.
Seconded. On the question? Hearing none, roll call.
Council President Griffith?
Aye.
Mayor Patterson Howard?
Aye.
Item number 28 is under resolution approving ordinances, and that's authorizing the mayor to enter into.
Can we make a motion to combine these?
Yes. I move that we combine items 28 through 32 under title resolutions approving ordinances in the second batch.
32, and Council President Griffith.
Aye.
Thank you for your motion, Mayor Patterson Howard, you second, ma'am?
Aye.
And
This is shorter.
the discussion on the motion, if I may, we return
Roll call.
the helm to you, ma'am, thank you. All right. And thank you for roll call, Council President Griffith
Aye.
and Mayor Patterson Howard.
Aye.
Thank you, and I will read into the record items number 28 to 32. Number 28 is authorizing the mayor to enter into a 3-year contract with Charter Communications for the sum of $300,948.03. Number 29 is authorizing the transfer of the law department unexpended 2021 salary fund for the sum of $159,329.50. Item number 30 is amending ordinance number 1 adopted August 11th, 2021, entitled an ordinance authorizing the rendering of services for the order of consent with the Canal Street Facility and Marina. Item number 31 is authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with Signify Lighting Management and Sensor Pilot Proposal. Item 32, authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with the Career Vision Ltd., also known as Community Change, for the sum of $100,000. That concludes 28 through 32 combined motion.
So moved.
Seconded. On the question, just to reiterate for those who may not have watched the council meeting, insofar as a 3-year contract with Charter Communications, right now we're spending almost $300,000 annually on our broadband access through over 60 accounts. This will allow us to consolidate these fees and receive that government and consolidated pricing, moving from a combination of LightPath and Spectrum and Verizon, putting us all under one major account at a cost savings of almost $200,000 a year. So what it will cost us for a 3-year period is literally a third of what it was costing us before. So this is just fiscally responsible and operationally great, and allows us to have efficiencies within our operations financially and staffing. Transfer of law department, we have actually saved money. You know, as much as people say we're overspending, we continue to find ways to save so that we could reallocate some of those salaries to taking care of settlements and other things that we have to take care of. The Canal Street Marina, really having services done so that we could upgrade that site. We know it's a brownfield and we've been cited by the DEC. And also the building and the space down there has been falling apart. So to be able to bring efficiencies and safety to our staff, clean up that environmental hazard, and be responsible citizens as a government, this is a good move. Signify Lighting, again, efficiencies and reducing our light bill, reducing our carbon footprint and everything associated with being a green community. We know it's cheaper, so it will also reduce our light bill as a city for the street lights. And then with Career Vision, you know, I know there was a question about whether or not our contractors are producing and providing the services that we're intended to do. And while that is not necessarily in legislation, it's always in contracts. And for monies that we receive from the city, the county, the state, and the federal government, we always have to do very detailed reports. There are benchmarks that we have to reach based on our agreements with our funding partners, which we not only reach, but we exceed, and we hold all of our sub-vendors to the same standard of service. And so with that.
Matt, can I say something as it relates to the law department? One of the things is the reason why we have this amount of unexpended funds is I forewent hiring a first assistant corporation counsel. As you know, we have a historic amount of work in the law department, so we worked harder this year because I knew that the trend of outside counsel spending was especially high. So I did what was in my power to kind of put monies toward that. Again, a lot of this outside counsel stuff is related to a lot of the previous political infighting, bad decisions from a human resources perspective, which required us to have
Reactionary governance.
Yeah, right. Which required us to hire attorneys for former elected officials and former city workers. We're looking to, hopefully that trend will change, which is why I put forth legislation to reimagine the law department so we can start to hire the people that are able to take some of this stuff and handle it in-house.
Absolutely. So, you know, thank you very much. Like I said, we've inherited challenges, and our job is to fix it, and that's what we're doing, with the resources that we have, and we have to use our resources innovatively to ensure, every specialty, you're not going to have within the law department, every specialty and expertise. People don't understand that being a lawyer doesn't make you an expert in everything. It's like being a doctor.
Right.
And so if you're an obstetrician, I don't want you operating on my heart. And if you are a litigator in criminal law, being a lawyer to deal with employment and personnel issues, it doesn't work. And I think that's something that the public doesn't understand. They say, oh, you have 5 lawyers. Why can't you handle it? Well, it's really like medicine. Medicine is a very specific and a very large field. Law is very specific and very large, and we have all different types of claims coming at us.
Right.
And so I don't want a general practitioner operating on my mom and administering chemo or mental health or anything in the same thing, unless we're going to employ 15 lawyers who have specialties in 15 areas, there will be need for outside counsel.
And what's significant here is, if you recall, that Labor Council quit midway through this year.
Because they hadn't been paid.
And there were a lot of issues for the comptroller did not.
Well, not just the comptroller.
No. But my
area.
point, no, because this is significant. This is what has been different. It's not recognized the contractual obligations and the different budgetary things that drove up the cost of the labor costs that we had to pay out in terms of settlements, and it increased over $200,000 on that singular issue alone.
And as well as not having provided contracts to our 4 unions, which are 90% of the staffing here in the city,
Right.
makes people less likely to be willing to kind of work with you
Right.
sometimes. And so, okay,
And
so
we have no labor
we're not
relations
feeling
person.
supported, then we're going to challenge, and we can't get it one way, we're gonna get it another way. And so, many have worked, but the staff is challenged and demoralized. And so, this is, the result of lawsuits. We live in a litigious society, and that's where we are.
Yeah.
So, thank you.
So I heard a very, good term, reactionary governance. That's excellent.
I just made it up, it's what I felt in my spirit.
No, that's what, once you're in the fight, you come up with terms that, because of your knowledge of words, that it just comes together, and it just makes, total sense. I've been saying that we've had a decade of disaster, with elected officials, and really the scam of government is hiring all these attorneys to defend problems that you create. All of this money is going away because.
Putting out fires that we're setting.
Right, exactly, and it costs money, it's costing taxpayer money, so the best defense is to have, good employees here defending and doing the right thing from the jump, and standing up for their role and their specialty, and that's why we need, specialty legal people to handle the special, problems that we have, and, the fire department has specialty people doing their things. I watched them put out a fire, and I stayed there for hours, and the techniques that they used, people just don't respect, because they just think you just put a hose on the thing. That's not it. There's much more to it, than that. So there's so much going on, and it comes down to council people too. There's things that we get to approve that are the gifts that just keep on giving. And this technology stuff that we have going forward, and even the street lamps, these are things that we have been asking for forever. And finally, when it comes to the council, you can't belabor the point of proving why it's the right thing to do. You just have to say, here's the gift that I've been asking for, accept it, and keep it moving. It's going to take forever to prove how much you've saved with this gift. You've been asking for it, accept it, and let's keep it moving. There's no reason to ask any more questions. You can ask a few questions, but there's absolutely no reason why you should be holding up absolute good legislation that we've been waiting for. So I can tell you the majority of the council, and I've had to speak out about this, the majority of the council sees it and accepts it, approves it, and keeps it moving. I'm not looking for any credit for approving it. I'm not looking to belabor the point. This is what the people need. This is what the people have been asking for. We've hired professionals that put it together. They put a lot of work together. And yes, we can keep on thinking about all the work that's been done. The LED lights alone, the new technology that's going into the LED lights will impress our population once we get it in. The problem is that we belabor the point before we even get it in. So, I'm very pleased with some of the legislation that's coming today. I'm very pleased with our, IT commissioner, who's bringing new technologies in, and it's been difficult getting there, but we're there. I'm very proud of Damani and his entire team at DPW, bringing the new technology and things that we deserve to have, we're finally getting. Thank goodness for the ARP funds that are enabling us to purchase some of these things that we deserve. And it's unfortunate that it's fortunate that we're ending this decade of disaster where we've had elected officials that have crippled us for 10 years, and we're out of that now. I think in January, we're going to have to begin to fully repair all the things that have held us back over the last 10 years. And yes, that 10 years is defined because when some people came in, it was downhill from there. We're at the bottom, and now we need to work our way back up. And a lot of this legislation that we have today is helping to get us there. So, thank you very much.
Thank you. I mean, it's a partnership, and, you know, I'm grateful that we've been allowed to hire credentialed people who have experience in their field. We are working to allow them to do their job that we've hired them to do. We challenge and we question them. We set benchmarks and we expect them to reach them. But like you said, we have to allow people to do their jobs. And so we will start seeing some of the fruit of that. It's been a challenge with COVID and, you know, lack of financial transparency. But in the midst of all of that, we are still getting some things done. And thank you for working with us to push those things along, and even having a special meeting this morning for these 5 items. Because these are items that you tried to pass almost a week ago, but didn't because you didn't have enough votes, and they passed today. So on second call. So thank you so much, because it's about efficiency. And if we want to be New Rochelle, you know, people say, oh, Mount Vernon, but we want to be White Plains and New Rochelle and Yonkers and Portchester and Peekskill and Rye, then we have to sit down and work efficiently and allow, you know, there's a difference between politics and governance. And I'm just excited when we can sit down and do governance, more governance and less politics, because then the people win. The people win. Thank you. So, roll call.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah. Council President Griffith, how say you on the combined motion of item number 2032?
Aye.
And Mayor Patterson Howard?
Aye.
Thank you. Item number 33 is under settlement, and it's settling the claim of Sokoloff Stern LLP for the sum of $34,927.65.
So moved.
Seconded. On the question? Hearing none, roll call.
Council President Griffith?
Aye.
Mayor Patterson Howard?
Aye.
Thank you. Item number 34 is under resolutions approving ordinances. It's approving the repair to the top portion or roof level of the City Hall building known as the building envelope.
Aye.
Seconded. I mean, aye. Did we?
So we can do these individually.
Yeah. That way you can add
Need a motion?
discussion on the motion if you so.
That's the motion to approve this one.
Seconded.
Yes.
On the question? Look, it's been raining in the building for years. And not only is it raining in the building, but we had bricks literally falling off the building, hitting cars parked on the side of the building, and being a danger to people walking by. And that is like a lawsuit in waiting. You can't have bricks falling off the side of City Hall.
Or waterfall in the elevator shaft.
You know.
Not just what, we don't want anyone to
What-
hurt.
Right.
Yeah, we don't want anyone hurt. That's the first thing.
Yeah,
I mean, if no one's hurt, then there won't be a lawsuit,
Right.
right? So the first thing is we don't want anyone to be hurt. We don't want anyone to, you know, experience injury. And we have been lucky, but we don't want to play the game of luck. We want to do what is good in the interest of the safety of our residents, our staff, and fix it. So this is what this is about.
And the answer is not just to put scaffolding, so when the brick does fall, it doesn't hit somebody. The answer is to fix the brick.
Scaffolding will not be up for 10 years, right?
Oh, my God. That was what, $80,000?
Right, because the scaffolding for a long time, sometimes will cost more than to fix it. So, yeah, we don't want to be in the scaffolding business. We want to fix it. So thank you.
You have a second.
You have a second? So, we had the discussion, so roll call.
Thank you, ma'am. Council President Griffith
Aye.
and Mayor Patterson Howard.
Aye.
Thank you. Your item number 35 and last item, your agenda is authorizing the Department of Public Safety to add the positions of 1 additional lieutenant and 2 additional sergeants.
So moved.
Seconded. On the question, this was presented, we have had retirement. We've had a lieutenant retire, and he kind of waited out his sick time, which, you know, some people retire with 180-day sick time, but he came off the books in July. And we have another person who's put in for retirement, and they will come off the books in January. But the thing is, we need to make sure that we're replacing those lieutenants to ensure that we have proper supervision and staffing on the streets to reduce overtime. And then we have a lot of young officers, new officers. So we want to make sure that we have the proper staffing of our officers, supervision of our officers, training of our officers, and at the same time, reducing all of this overtime. And this is what this allows us to do. We're taking the savings from July, August, and September. And so far, this first half of October, that one of the positions has been absent, and we will hire 2 people and use the savings from that 3.5 months to cover the added expense of replacing someone who's waiting for retirement. And again, this is an efficiency fiscally, and again, it allows us to have the proper level of supervision. So that's what this is all about. Okay. Roll call. There's nothing else on the question?
Council President Griffith
Aye.
and Mayor Patterson Howard.
Aye.
Thank you. That ends your agenda, ma'am.
And so just on some new items, we are excited. We know that our police department has experienced a lot of retirements. We've experienced a lot of transfers. We have had one of the most diverse police departments in the county, not just most diverse police departments in the county, but one of the best trained. And when I say best trained, because of not just the classes that they've attended, but because it's in an urban environment, you're dealing with Part 1 crimes and drug investigations and homicide investigations. Our partnership with the DEA, the Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms Agency, the FBI, our partnerships with the county police department and New York City intelligence. And in the wake of national and state police reform, there was a call that went out for departments all across these states to diversify their police department. And with that happening, and with our police department being the lowest paid police department in the county, we are almost the lowest in the region. Only New York City starts their police officers out lower than ours. Everyone came to diversify their departments in the year of COVID and since COVID, especially when there were no police academies being held, especially when there were no civil service exams being given. And our police officers, if you're making 92 at top pay here, and you can go to the county or another community and mid-range pay is $122,000, you can get a $30,000 raise, you're gonna do what's in the best interest of your family, and you're going to transfer. And that is one of the biggest challenges that we've had, you know, also the fiscal questions and not knowing and not being able to fulfill contracts, giving holiday pay, uniform pay. Those things have all contributed, not having cars, not having equipment, not having locker rooms that are safe and things of that nature. Police, fire, DPW, it's everywhere. It's not just one department's burden, it's everywhere. Police have just been given much more of an opportunity to transfer as there has been a call for diversity. Because many of our police departments around the county were not diverse. And it's not that these officers haven't been on other police departments' lists for years. This is not all new. They weren't just trying to transfer out in 2020, as some have tried to present. They've been trying to transfer out for years. The thing was, the opportunity was not given to them at this rate by other departments because they were not under a spotlight for their lack of diversity. But when the spotlight was shined on many of our departments around Westchester County for their lack of diversity, they came to Mount Vernon because we are the most diverse, and we are the best trained and best experienced. And so we've lost a lot of officers. We did not have a civil service test for 5 years. For some reason, the last civil service test for police officers, they decided to make it a 4-year list. That's the worst thing that you can do, because then you can't call for a list. And so we have gone from a 4-year list to a 2-year list. We called for our first exam in May. We had 500 people respond, 165, about 165 Mount Vernon residents. We called, and 165 passed, Mount Vernon residents passed. They came forward for the agility exam on October 2nd. We had probably about 36, 37 pass the agility exam. Some did not take it on that day because they had, physical challenges, travel challenges. So we still have some on a list. For the first time in December, we will be swearing in a good number of Mount Vernon residents as police officers, which is exciting. I don't think we've sworn in any Mount Vernon residents as police officers in over 2 years. Because once you go through the Mount Vernon residents on the Mount Vernon list, then people who are outside of the community are on the list. Then we exhausted that list and we had to go to the county list. And so the county list wasn't diverse at all, and there weren't Mount Vernon residents. So being able to start to retool our police department with residents from Mount Vernon, with diverse people, we're excited. The other thing that we're excited about is we have ordered 20 police cars through ARPA funding. Those cars should start coming in January. We've been working with the county to get some of their used and excess cars because we want to make sure that we are providing the resources to our police department. Also with the ARPA money, just a quick update. Yesterday, I signed checks for 7 sanitation vehicles. I signed checks for 4 street sweepers. I signed a check for 4 snow plows because winter is coming. I feel like Game of Thrones. We signed checks for the tax vehicles where we can put the small plows on there, and some money for the environmental work that we have to do down at the DPW yard and sewers, and we paid for some gas. So, that shouldn't be exciting, but it's exciting for us because it is not business as usual. It is what we haven't been able to do easily. So we are moving forward. With that being said, we are in budget development season. And there's information that we need from our controller, some of it that we haven't received. But one thing that she is responsible based on the charter, everything she's responsible to giving us in the charter we haven't received, but one thing she did send us. So I'm just gonna read this letter very quickly because this is a very important letter. It was sent October 13th, 2021 from the Office of the City Controller, Deborah Reynolds, Board of Estimate and Contract, Mayor and City Council President, in accordance with Section 85 of the City Charter of the City of Mount Vernon, New York, with respect to the reserves for delinquent taxes receivable, I submit herewith the valuation as of September 30th, 2021. The valuation of reserves for delinquent taxes as of September 30th, 2021. Resources, estimated cash, $27 million. This $27 million is not broken down at all. It just says $27 million. So we don't know if this is capital funds. We don't know if it's ARP funds. We don't know if it's general revenue that we have for operating expenses. So there is nothing to delineate the source of these funds. We have 47 accounts. It should have been broken down into how, what of this $27 million is available for operations. We know we received $20 million from American Rescue Funds. If $20 million is in here and we only have $7 million to operate, that's pretty scary. Taxes receivable, $81,563,969.51. I'm going to read that again. Taxes receivable, $81,563,969.51. That is staggering. That is staggering. I believe our tax assessment each year is about $62 million. And it does not break down how much taxes receivables we have for each year. 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, it just says 81 million. And so if we are to assume, I know up until 2017, we were collecting taxes at about a 98% rate, with accuracy about 98%. I know since the school district started collecting their taxes, just July of 2020, they're collecting the school taxes at about a 98% collection rate. So if all of that rings true for the school district, who's collecting their taxes at a 98% rate, and their taxes are twice that of the city taxes, then that means that over the last 4 years, that our controller has been collecting taxes at somewhere about a 65% rate, which is scary. So, there's been an assertion that we've overspent, but you can't spend money that you're not collecting. So I think we've underspent, and the challenge in our cash flow has not been overspending, it's been lack of collection. And so to see this on paper, if it's true, and I would assume, hopefully it is true, if she's going to put this out in a report.
Well, I don't know.
Look,
She put in a report that she's received nothing from your department.
right, yeah.
And that was absolutely not true.
But
So-
if I am responsible for collecting taxes, it would be very hard for me to say that I haven't collected $81.5 million of taxes.
Well, I don't know what's going on down there. I know we recently received an order to show cause of someone, and we're getting calls of people who are claiming that they paid their taxes, have proofs of payment of taxes, but the comptroller's office is not recognizing their payment.
Look, this is what we've been
So
saying.
I don't know what's going on.
I've been reporting this out. We have just tons of emails, and complaints saying that people have paid, but their payments are not showing up on their taxes in the next tax bill. We have other people who have sent in checks, and their checks haven't been cashed. So something is going on. There's a lot going on, and we won't know, and we won't start to begin to know until January, when we're able to get down there and get access to the information, some forensic auditors, and work with other people to help get us out of this mess. But I needed to read this in here, so let me finish. It says, from year to year, policymakers have counted on the city's reserves as a cushion against budgetary uncertainty and used the city's reserves to fill budget gaps. Therefore, policymakers cannot count on them for future drawdowns. Well, that's kind of how government works. When you save money, you put your money in a reserve and you use it when you're short. So it's interesting, she said year funds balance were used in 2016, 2 million was used in 2017, 3.1 million was used in 2018, 5.5 million was used, and in 2021, 4.7 million was used.
Do we know what it was used for?
It was used, well, it was allocated as part of the budget process as it is supposed to be, and it was used to fill gaps within the city's budget as it was supposed to. If you save here, then you're able to spend that money when there's a gap, and so that's what it's been done. But it's very interesting that she was able to break down the years that the fund balance was used. It was actually allocated, not necessarily used, because an allocation of the fund balance does not mean that it was all used. It just means it was allocated should we have had to use it, but there's always savings, and that's how you usually get a fund balance. It's particularly interesting that she broke it down for 2016, 17, 18, 21, but the tax receivables or the taxes that she did not collect, as is her primary job, because the controller is the tax collector, that she did not break down what hasn't been collected in 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021. And so, I just wanted to read that into the record as it was sent by the controller, and I don't want her to say. We also received a fiscal year report for fiscal year ending July 31st, 2021. Our fiscal year ends in December not July, so this would be the second quarter report. And again, in here, she speaks about what was spent, but she does not report in here at all how much revenue was collected from her office. So she's quite clear on expenditures. And we're not sure what years these expenditures, because the books haven't been closed, and in 2020, she's paying bills from 2018. So she has the wherewithal to be able to report on expenditures, even though they're not properly aligned. But again, nowhere does she say how much revenue has been collected through her office for the operation of the city. The other thing is, in here it kind of says year to date through July that we spent 3/4 of the annual allocation for salaries as compared to last year. But looking deeper into the report, the amount we spent did not go through July, it went through September. So actually we would be on target if you know, at the end of September you spend 3/4 of what you're budgeted to spend, then we're right on target. We're not overspending. So there's just a lot of deficiencies, an extreme number of deficiencies, errors, miscalculations, lack of information in here for it to really be usable at all to do budgetary estimates, but it has been submitted, and that's it. You're an accountant.
Well, I am, and it's, I mean, a decade of disaster, so I mean, we have had no financial information coming from that office. I suspected, just what I'm hearing in the community about their checks not being cashed, people that have said, I haven't paid taxes in 5 years, what's going to happen? No notices have gone out to residents, or even warnings, or even assistance. There's been many things, so yes, that $87.5 million kind of isn't a surprise to me. It would have been very nice if that 87.5 was broken, 82, what's the difference, right? I mean, it would have been nice if it was broken down by years so that we can have, and the council and the new council, when they have true financial information, the council is going to have to make a decision as to how we relieve the taxpayers of the errors that were going on in that office for the last 4 years. There's going to have to be some sort of amnesty presented to the taxpayers to be able to allow them to simply pay their flat taxes with no interest or punitive interest put onto that, because there are a lot of victims out there that are simply waiting for their checks to be cashed, and they just haven't been cashed. And I have multiple stories and phone calls of taxpayers, multiple taxpayers that have just been complaining and arguing, and they just can't understand how is this possible. How is it that a check that has been written to the city of Mount Vernon has not been cashed? It just doesn't make any fiscal, accounting, accounts receivable sense at all. So the reports that I received, there are, I was dumbfounded. There's so many questions that comes from the report. It probably would have been better if I didn't receive anything at all. And it's extremely bad for the fiscal sense of the city. So next year, when true information comes out, I think there's going to have to be some high decisions made as to what we do for our residents and taxpayers as far as these taxes that are owed. And even for the taxpayers that haven't paid taxes in 5 years, if they haven't been noticed, there needs to be a notice period where we can alert these taxpayers, and then it's the council's role to assist them and to retain their homes. Some people may say, oh, great, here's an opportunity for some foreclosures to happen, but that is not our interest. Our best interest is to save taxpayers' homes so that we don't have to go through the process of foreclosure. Now, of course, there will be some, but it's not the city's intention to sell these properties. And there's going to be a legal, what did the mayor call it? What did you call it, Madam Mayor? There's going to be a resulting, give it to me, Madam Mayor.
No.
Reactionary. I don't remember these things, you know, they kind of just come up and out.
Just spit that, right? So let me just.
You can add that to Bloomberg.
So let me just finish. So, I mean, this is all the result of of, and, you know, somebody who's not an accountant and is not smart enough to hire a strong accountant to be able to do the professional work that they need to do down in that office. And it's a shame, and we've been living with this for the last 4 years. So I think there's going to be some major relief. The council has discussed providing some relief to taxpayers throughout the year. Corporation Council and I worked on that. It's unfortunate that without any information from the controller's office, it's very hard to give relief to people if you really don't know what exposure you have. So we kind of scaled back and unfortunately had to decide to do nothing once we get that information. And of course, I won't be here, but the new council that comes in, I am more than happy to continue to discuss with them the issues that we have had in this council class, and things that we could not do, that we would be looking for the new council to possibly do because of the information that they will have that we did not have. And those hard decisions shouldn't be looked back as, oh, those council people didn't do anything. It should be looked at, they had no availability.
No
to do what
information.
they wanted to do. So this new council is going to have to take that on. And I pray that we'll be able to get to that as swiftly as possible. I also have to say, it's not going to come in January.
No.
There's going to be a tremendous amount of reconnaissance work that needs to be done to be able to quantify all of this work that is there, uncovering things. I'm sure there's going to be a file cabinet full of checks that need to be represented or rediscussed, and all of those checks are stale dated. So there's going to have to be a severe reconnaissance process that goes on.
And some of that
hopefully in the
revenue,
first 6 months.
unfortunately, is going to be lost. We have sent out notices, hundreds of thousands of dollars of checks were presented back from the comptroller's office over this last year and a half that were given to the building department, the fire department, people paying building permit fees, you know, fire department fees. And we took those checks, some of them over a year old, a year and a half old, and we mailed them back out to the people who paid us. It's kind of like if you go to the restaurant and you pay for your meal, and someone comes to you a year later and says, we need you to repay for the meal because we never cashed your check. I had that meal. You know, I sold my house. I got my oil tanks from the back of my house removed. I passed my fire inspection. I got what I needed for me to go back and repay you what I paid you. You know, and unless we're going to take all of these people to court and sue them to get them to repay us, you know, it's kind of hard to get people to come back and pay for what they've already paid for, and we didn't cash. So some of that is going to be lost. But I have hope, because as you've already stated, we have residents who have been calling us and begging, saying, look, I just want to pay my taxes. I don't want a problem from the city. I don't want to lose my house. I'm not deadbeat. I'm putting this money away in escrow. And in January, I can't wait to come and pay. I mean, you know, we even have individuals who have purchased property here in the city. We had conversations with them, I believe, on Friday, who put $1 million in escrow, that they're just waiting, and they're sending their payments in, and they're sending them in on time, or the proof of their escrow payments, just to show us in good faith that they want to pay. They want to pay their taxes, but their taxes are being returned, their checks aren't being cashed. And so in January, we will be open to do business. We will have a fiscal partner, and we'll be able to move Mount Vernon forward. I tell people the challenge is not knowing our situation. The challenge is not knowing. Not knowing is much more frustrating. Look, once we know, regardless of how bad it is, and maybe not as bad as we think, or maybe worse, we don't know. But at least once you know, and you know that you have partners to work with, then you can put forward a strategy and a path forward to address those challenges and address those issues. And so it's a daunting task, but we have a great group of partners and an ability to do this work, and we're looking forward to doing it for the city of Mount Vernon, because our residents deserve it, and we're going to provide it. And we're Mount Vernonites, and what we are more than anything is we're committed, we're dedicated, we have grit, we have resilience, and we know how to grind, and we know how to make it happen with little.
Right. So the one thing that I would add is, because I'm definitely concerned about the people whose checks have not been cashed, but we just want to also be very clear and intentional that if you have had, you've paid, and you have evidence of payment,
Yeah.
These are the calls that I'm starting.
If you have
And no one is willing to help you in the finance department resolve that, and they're saying you still have to remit additional payment, and you're leery about doing that because you don't want to concede that you've already paid, then that would also be addressed.
So Mount Vernon residents, if you have paid, and you have proof of payment, and you could show that your checks have been cashed, or that you have receipts, and it has not been applied to your bill, you know, hold on to that information and bring it forward so that we can make the adjustments going forward. If you have tried to pay and your checks haven't been cashed, you know, hold on to that information as well. And we'll be working with you in the new year. And so, look, I have a song that I've been listening to, and it says, it's not over, it's not finished, it's not ending, it's only the beginning. And it says, I know it's darkest just before dawn, but it says, this is the hardest season you've experienced, but there's a breaking of day. And we've been challenged, like you said, it's been a decade of dysfunction. It's been a decade of dysfunction, but there is a breaking of day happening. And you can't always feel it right away, but know it's coming. It's kind of like if any woman who has ever had a child, you celebrate carrying that baby, but boy, the longer you carry it, the heavier it gets. And when it's time to deliver, it's very, very painful. And so we have some final pushes. But, you know, after you push and you push and you push and you cry, then you hold it, and it's beautiful. And then you know what you have to do to raise it. And so that's what we're doing. We're in a birthing position and in a birthing process here in Mount Vernon. We're pushing our way through the final challenges. There'll always be challenges, but there'll also be more victories going forward. So thank you.
If I can, Madam Mayor, one good thing about the report that we've received, that $80 million in a weird way could be considered a reserve in money that, if you wanted to really think of it in a positive light and try to find something positive, that $80 million plus is really a reserve that is coming to the city that we didn't know that we had in our back pocket. And
It can be the best news we
it
have.
could be the very best
If
news,
it's
right?
real,
Right.
if this is real number, it can be the best news we have, and it will allow us to assess what we have, find out what we have, go back and pay old bills, you know, right-size some things. So it's, look, we're ready.
Right, absolutely.
We're ready.
Looking forward to it.
So with that said, is there anything else? I think. All right, motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
I second it. Roll call.
Council President Griffin.
Aye.
And Mayor Patterson Howard.
Aye.
Thank you. We are adjourned at 11:17.
We are adjourned at 11:17. Get ready for the Urban Renewal Agency meeting.